Alrighty. Hello everybody, sorry for the late start today. I am still trying to figure out some of my setup here, so I'll be with you in just a second, but get the stream rolling, make sure things are working properly. My microphone decided to stop working about 5 minutes ago, so if anything sounds off, please give me a heads up. And otherwise we'll get into it in just a minute. Seems like the balancing's okay. I don't know, I feel like sometimes I close OBS, open it back up, and it can't find any of the stuff that I wanted it to be looking at before, so hopefully that's not a problem today. General agenda for today, we're going to start off with development updates, same as we have for the past few weeks here. And then we will switch over. I also want to talk about bug reports this week. We had a couple that were fixed live, and oops. And we have some other things that we're tracking them. I just want players to know that we are looking in to some of those things. But other than that, we are going to go through a couple feedback tab things that we've gotten. And then we're going to spend the rest of the time today working on the group tab rebuild. So last stream we had talked about wanting things to look a little bit better if possible on the groups tab. We chose last week to go with the tutorial rewrite, or not rewrite, just write, because we didn't have a tutorial yet. It's kind of the in-person tutorial, making sure that new players join into a game and have a way of learning what all the elements are before they go and play their first game. So once we got that done last week, we're going to work on groups this week, and then that will be all for today. If there are people watching who have a larger request, like you want to try to build something a little bit more complicated with me, feel free to let me know. We can always spend a stream doing that. Hello, Bloonsbore Master. Hopefully that chat is legible on the screen. I don't know how to make that a darker background, but good enough. So I'm going to pull up our development updates in just a sec. We'll get started with that. It's been a pretty productive week from a development standpoint. So hopefully all good things to hear. Just get that set up here. Good, okay. So last week was the 5th, if I'm not mistaken, just so I don't repeat myself from the last time. So let's scroll back up here. The 5th, okay. So, things that have happened since the 5th last week. We've got... Oh, something just stopped. You can tell I don't do this much. Okay. Reviews coming in for profile stuff. Ready to go. Okay, this is my last game thing. We talked about that plenty. That's good to go. We've got a change that I made to the chat filter. I unfortunately can't go into much detail on this one. There's a very update next week. Oh, the release. Yeah, I'll talk about the release after I go through this stuff here. So update came in for the chat filter. Currently, if you send a message that you're not allowed to send and you would receive a mute for, otherwise it blocks that message. Obviously, players try to find ways around that filter so they can send the message anyway. There is a very, very obvious way to get around it right now that I will not say on stream because this fix is not in yet, but that has been patched for the next release so that will not be the case anymore. After that, we have an update to the scoreboard. So if you are in a ranked game or in a mini game right now and the game ends, it pops up with the scoreboard. Obviously in the bottom right corner there's that map voting drop down. That map voting drop down is relevant for casual games because that's what the map test committee uses to decide to keep or remove maps, obviously, but they don't use that for ranked and they don't use that for mini games. So we've removed that drop down from ranked and mini games, and the hope with that, yes, it's just a redundant thing that doesn't do anything in that game mode, but also I'm hoping that will kind of make it pop out a little bit more for casual games so people remember to submit their votes. More stuff on the way in the next release after this coming one for promoting casual map votes. But that's in. Big one that was actually a request that came in on stream, if I'm not mistaken, that's in progress now. So we're going to update the candy board with that. Is that casual games, when you switch teams, you are now awarded a save attempt. And I believe we made that on stream. But in a casual game, if you are on the team that's winning, or you're on the team that was, or you're tied and you make the cap to go up in the game, you can then choose to switch teams, same as always. It currently says like you get 5 bonus rank points for that. We've updated that to say you get 5 bonus rank points and a save attempt, and we've made it so that it updates that accordingly. So I want to put that as in progress if I can find it. Where'd that go? Come on now. Sorry, this was supposed to be a 2-second thing, and now I can't find. I'm just gonna pull up the ticket that we have for the. I wish I was good at this. This would be a lot easier if I was good at this. Save attempts, please. I just did this. Where did it go? So there are 41 branches in a thing on GitHub saying this is the stuff that we have done ready for the next release, and I cannot find the thing that I just did. I know it exists. There we go. Award save attempts. Thank you. My goodness. So the name of the branch was Award. Oh, it didn't say save. That's why. Award USA. Aha. Okay. So now I can say that this is in progress. The feature has been assigned to a developer. Will be announced in an upcoming release. So I want to make sure we're keeping track of that. So that's good there. Sorry that took me so long to find. Then after that, we've got at the end of a game, I think this was another request that came in. We want to announce to a lobby when a player has a successful save attempt. So that was another thing that we had just talked about in on stream. And the ticket is... Oh, there was no ticket for that. Did that come up on stream, or did I just forget to link the candy post? Let me see. Notify lobby. Notify save. Here we go. Forgot to link this. So 2 things. I'm going to pull up the ticket here. This is the thing that we have. You can see it's merged in. It's waiting for deployment now. So let me just grab that candy post real quick. Indicate that a save has been earned so we can update it accordingly. And we can say relevant candy post. And then we can update the post and say in progress. I should have copied what I just wrote. Oh well. So the reason I was working on a couple of these smaller things, we have some larger branches going on that I've been talking about in the last few streams. Those were in a bit of a lull where I had submitted my reviews to them. I was waiting to hear back from the actual authors of those branches. And so during that time, I figured I could put together some minor things that would come up instead of trying to take on something large while we're waiting for that to get done. So I have a couple more here. We've got... Oh, this is a big one. So we have talked about this a couple times on stream. In clutch time, we were hoping, or I was hoping, that the clock would be different. So right now, if you are in clutch time, the clock goes to a negative, it turns to green. So if the game goes to 0, you could have any number of seconds clutch time. The clock will count up, but in the negatives, And then when clutch time ends, so for example, if the player with the flag captures it, the game becomes tied, it goes to overtime. Right now, the clock resets and it goes back to 0, starts counting up during overtime. The general consensus of that was that it is confusing because for pup rounds, you have a reset on the clock. You can't keep track of when the power-up was supposed to spawn next because the timing's just all wonky. So what we did instead, and what I just submitted a couple days ago, was that when clutch time starts, it just starts counting the same way as overtime. The clock is still green, but it starts counting up in the positives, not in the negatives. And then if the game transitions to overtime after clutch time, the clock just continues. So if clutch time ends at 18 seconds and the player caps the flag, it just goes to 19 seconds and changes that scoreboard to a gold color instead of green. So now power-ups will look exactly like they did before clutch time, where it's just a minute after it was grabbed, just inverted. So instead of spawning at 58, it'll spawn at 2, because a minute after 58 is 2 in overtime. So that should be much more intuitive. And the idea behind that, it's easier for players to understand. I think because of that, it's going to make it a lot easier to then introduce clutch time to casual games, because the concern is that if you haven't played clutch time before, it's not super straightforward what's happening. You see that the flag's still held, the game didn't end, and then the clock resets. Like it's just a little bit too much, I think, for new players. So that should be an easier adjustment period for players. So we'll get that into ranked first, see how people like it. If the community responds well to it, which I think we will, then we'll bring it over to casual, and that will be a long-term inclusion for both game modes going forward. But let me find that ticket real quick just so we can take a look at it together. And then, here we go. So I should have had that up while I was talking. But there's currently special clock management during clutch time for it to increment the same way as in overtime, but reset to 0, blah, blah, blah. Preserve the clock color handling, which turns green, but do not reset the clock to 0 when the game transitions states. So I don't think there was a ticket in for this one, so we're not going to update anything for it, but that is in and good to go now for the next release. There is an ongoing moderator discussion that should be wrapped up. Ghost flags are a learning curve. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different. I think the one advantage that we have for that is that players are used to the game ending if it's not tied. So the ghost flags, like it's new, but I think that the fact that they understand the game didn't end when it was supposed to, something is changed. They're going to be on the lookout for new things. I think that we'll be okay with the ghost flag part, especially when we're using the tied or winnable setting, because the other ones were way more confusing. So with tied or winnable, we're using winnable only. We are not using tied or winnable. European League used tied or winnable. If you are losing by 1 and you have the flag and you capture, it goes to overtime. If it is tied, it goes straight to overtime. So no different from casual there. The ghost flags were only really confusing when you could hold one, but you couldn't capture it. And that situation never comes up with winnable only. It's just an indicator that player's flag is just used to stop the other team from capturing. So I think it's definitely something that will take some adjustment, but I don't think it'll be as disruptive as some of the other options that we had, thankfully. So we'll see how it plays out. If it's a nightmare, then we can roll it back, but I have a feeling this is going to be well received on the casual front. So we'll see. But yeah, back to what I was mentioning for moderator stuff. There's an ongoing conversation right now that should be wrapped up in the next day, probably, maybe today, related to private games and chat. So right now, if you are muted in a public game, you obviously cannot chat in public games anymore. You cannot chat in public groups by the same extension. Just if you can't chat somewhere public, you can't chat somewhere public. But if you make the group private, you can chat in group chat. So private group chat, even if you have a muted account, you can still send messages, with the logic that if you're in that private group, it's by choice. You can always leave that private group. We're not responsible for who you choose to interact with there. But if it's a public group where anybody can join, or it's a public game where anybody can join, we are responsible for that. And so your chat has been removed. But where things got confusing was that if a private group launches a private game, when the muted player gets into the private game, they cannot chat in the private game chat, but they can chat in the private group chat. So there's an inconsistency between the group and the game, even though both are private. So the mod team is currently discussing which of those two things is the correct one so that we can be consistent across the board. I think we're leaning toward allowing game chat for players who are muted in private games launched from private groups, because it's the same thing as private group chat basically. We just have to make sure we're covering edge cases like private games launched from public groups. They still cannot chat because anybody can join that game. So it's a bit of a thing. The chat filter still applies across the board, so no slurs, anything like that, obviously. But for just other chat, we don't really feel the need. I don't feel the need to be restricting chat that much. So we'll finish that conversation up today, hopefully. Not related to the future group technically, but it's a branch that we have open, waiting to hear back from the mod team. So Balloons Warmaster says they should be able to chat in private game chat. Yeah, and that's kind of what we're leaning toward right now. So will be an update. We're probably going to have a mod memo in a week or two once that's figured out. I don't know if you guys remember those back from the COVID years when I joined the mod team and then became the head mod. We had, I think it was every other month I was posting updates to the code of conduct, what the current plan was for moderation and all that. We haven't had one in a few years at this point. And we have had some minor changes, especially with ranked coming out. Different players have chosen different ways of expressing their discontent with others, which has kind of drifted into the working against own team side of things. So we've added a couple of examples, or we're going to add a couple of examples to the example vote bans document, just describing other things that you should not be doing in a game. Like, what's a good example? Leaving one defense to go 3 offense during a capping opportunity, like little stuff like that. So we can make sure that players are still able to look at that document, understand what not to do, and be okay with it going forward. So we'll have an announcement with that, hopefully with the change to the mute policy in that as well, and anything else that we've decided needs to change in the last couple of years. But I think we're in a pretty okay place moderation-wise. I think the monitor program has been good for the preemptive approach. Obviously, it's not perfect. No moderation team is going to be perfect with volunteers, but I think we do a pretty good job at the end of the day. So that is that. We've got something I mentioned on stream a few weeks ago. Was during account merges, we want to make sure that the Sigma value is preserved for the ranked account. I think I talked about this on stream, where if a player who has played ranked with one account wants to merge an account that they have not played ranked on into their ranked account to get their flares back, to get degrees, whatever it is, we want to preserve the ranked details of that ranked account, but it was taking the highest value of the merge so that their Sigma value, which is their uncertainty, was overriding the certainty of their ranked account. And what that did in practice was it made it look like your ELO or your skill score was going down, even though you hadn't done anything differently. So we fixed that so it takes the right value during the merge. That fixes in for the next release. Then we've got, that might be everything. Basically a lot of little things that were on the way while waiting for the bigger branches to move along. So talking about the next release, there was a question in the chat here about when. My personal preference would be the end of the month being done with Season 0, which would require the release being out before the end of the month. The current holdup is a very, very large branch, and then also waiting for 2 other smaller branches. So the big one is the big holdup. The smaller stuff just needs to be a couple of days, and then testing, obviously. So my personal preference, again, end of the month. My realistic estimate, I think, will be good to go in about 10 or 12 days for testing, and then if the testing goes well, then we can hopefully have a release by maybe the 29th or the 30th, and see what happens after that. So I would say soon-ish. We just need to make sure that this branch is everything that needed to be fixed with ranked done for good, because I want to be done and move on to the shop so we can continue. So I don't want to be like kind of half fixing things and almost being done and then trying to move on while leaving that project unfinished. Like, I want ranked to be working and good and stable, and then we can move on to everything else. Yeah, the spectate option is part of that, where if you do not want to be in the joiner, but you want to be watching a game, you can see all of the current active games. You can select the one that you want, and you can then watch that game without getting pulled out of it into a game afterward. So if you are looking forward to that, congratulations, it's in the next release. And there's other details about that, like letting people choose the game they want to watch while waiting for a game as well. It requires a little more nuance to make that all work together. So soon, trademark, we will be ready to move on to the next one. So, oh, I missed a couple things. What's this? Oh, no, that's just my feedback. Okay, so that's it for dev updates. We also had some bug reports I wanted to talk about real quick. We had a report. Oh, yeah, the bigger one was the scoreboard. So there's currently a bug on the scoreboard where if you are, let me just pull up the ranked scoreboard so you can see what I'm talking about. If you are looking at the scoreboard right now and you scroll down to yourself, it shows you, it shows the 10 players above you, the 10 players below you, and then it shows the top of the tier that you are in. So I am currently in the diamond tier, so it shows the top 5 players in diamond, and then it shows 10 players around me, and then obviously tier 1. This is not super intuitive. This is not super intuitive because you have like tier 1 just kind of ends and then it jumps. If you're not in tier 2, this is very not straightforward because 40 turns into like 80 or whatever. But then the bigger problem is if you are in tier 2-1. So if I am, for example, Russ, and I am in 2-1, the 10 players above me overlaps with tier 1. So it messes up the headers. Like there was a image in the Bug Reports channel from Kep that just showed, yeah, that's Kep right here. So he showed 10 above him is back up into tier 1. So it was showing like duplicates of some of these players. It looks terrible. Frankly, it looks like an absolute mess. So we need to make sure that it's checking to see where you are so it doesn't have that, and then just keeping the headers consistent. I think that we can change this header to say your actual tier. So this says diamond, this says you, and this says diamond 3. These are diamond 1, 2, and 3. I think this could just be diamond 2, and you can tell that it's you. You already know that you're 61 because it's got a 61 right there. And then I don't know. That's my current inclination. And then just adding a bit more of a border between these two so that it's clear that this stops and then this is a different section. For tier 2 players, it does go somewhat seamlessly, but for tier 3 and down, this just looks really confusing to have a big number next to a small number. So we'll have those tweaks in hopefully in one of the next releases. I'm not sure about this next release, but that was a bug report that came in. We had a couple of reports that were just script errors, nothing going on there. Some weird graphics stuff going on. There was some stuff reported where like a player was seeing spaces before their name. I have no idea why those spaces would have been rendered for them. And then something else to do with a Juke Juice sprite showing on somebody that wasn't supposed to. If you see anything like that, let us know. More cases of that happening will help us narrow down what's going on. Sometimes we get these reports and the answer is I have absolutely no idea what could be causing this and no idea where to even start looking into it. So more examples of that will help us kind of narrow it down and figure out what to actually do to fix those. So that is most of what went on in the last week for development stuff. If you have any questions about that, obviously let me know. But I think we can move on to the actual things here. Now, so the candy board. We didn't get a whole lot this week. I think requests have slowed down a little bit, which is understandable because we're kind of just waiting for a lot of things to get done. But with the newest things, we had these 3. Oh, I forgot to talk about flares. I just saw this and it reminded me. We have finalized the plan for ranked flares. Again, I can't show you them now because it's a bit of a surprise, but we're currently planning to have a single flare each for tier 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, no matter where you are in the sub tiers, with progressively cooler flares as you get toward the top. Then for tier 1, we have a different flare for 1-3, 1-2, and then 1-1. So they, again, getting cooler, adding more things to them, cooler colors and all that. And for the player who finishes in 1-1 or players, which is possible, there is an additional flare that they earn permanently for their Tag Pro account. So it's going to be fun to see what people think about them. I'm really excited to reveal them. I think that they came out way better than I could have hoped for, in truth. So we'll see what people think about it, and we will get those up in the next release. So we're going to show them on the leaders tab. So next time we have a release, you'll see them all right here where these question blocks are. And obviously you'll see them in the player profile as well. You'll see them in the all section. I don't know where, I think we might need to add another category for ranked. I'm not sure, maybe other. I haven't decided where it's going to go yet. Win rate flares are in other, so probably in other with those, but we'll see what we decide on after discussion. Sorry, I need to keep muting my mic. My throat is very dry today for some reason. But yeah, okay, that's everything that happened this week. Let's move on to the candy board and then the group stuff after the fact. So, first thing, texture pack, My Little Tag Pronies. Okay. Introduce the My Little Tag Pronies texture pack and transform. I can't do this. So I'm going to close this, but with a comment. So texture packs are all community driven and generated. So for anyone who does not know, if you want to make a texture pack, you can do that. We have all these texture packs. All of these are community made that you can see the names next to each of them. These are players who built a texture pack and then submitted it to the future group for inclusion. These little numbers indicate how many players are using that texture pack. So you can see what the popular ones are. You can sort by their names. You can sort by what's the most popular. And this is active players. It is filtered down to players who have played recently. So otherwise these numbers would be absurdly large for players who just had default texture packs assigned. So yeah, if you want to make a My Little Tag Pronies texture pack, by all means, you can submit it to us. If we think it's viable, we will include it in the texture pack list. So off topic, but thoughts on the Madoka situation. I would need more details on what the Madoka situation is. I'm not really familiar with that. If it involves moderation, I probably can't go into detail, but if it's league related, I might be able to share some thoughts on that. If you're in tier 2 in NA, tier 3 in EU, are players getting double flares? That's an excellent question. What the current plan is involves the branch that we worked on 3 or 4 weeks ago now, where we had talked about like eligibility to make the leaderboard, like activity requirements, where you have to play a certain number of games to make it onto the leaderboard. That will also extend to the flares. So you need to have a certain number of wins to earn the flare, and that will cement it. So it doesn't matter what region you do that in. If you get that in North America, if you get that in Europe, the problem that we're going to run into, and I don't think we have a solution for this yet, is that if you are only playing in Europe, you might not get enough games to earn those flares. And so that's going to be a bit unpopular probably. So we might need to look into a better way to address that, but we don't want players to go play like 7 games in Europe over the course of a season and then get a tier 1 flare. Like that's not really, it's not really what the flares are for. So I think that it's going to be for the season 0, at least you need to hit that certain win threshold to earn the flare. Going forward, we'll see if maybe we could have like modified scales where it's, you don't have to play quite as many in Europe because they don't get as many games. But ignoring all of that, yes, you can earn a flare in a different region that would look the same as the flare that you earned in the North American region if you get there. So it looks like you were maybe planning to do exactly what I just said on Oceania, so that might cement my plan there. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I'm always surprised at the classic usage still. Yeah, it's I think a lot of people just take the default new accounts who haven't played before. We do show all the texture packs for new players. So when you join the game for the first time, you pick your reserve name, you pick your flare, and then you get this list so you can pick the one that you like the most. I was happy to see a player streaming. I think I mentioned this last week actually. He was streaming with a non-classic texture pack, which means that he actually looked and picked one that he liked. So I was happy to see that not everybody is just getting classic and assuming that's what the game looks like. It's a good improvement. So yeah, My Little Tag Pronies, if you are interested in making your own, please submit it to future group here or on Discord for consideration. But we do not make texture packs for people. We have plenty to pick from. There's no official texture pack, and yeah. I mean, I could see this being kind of popular as like a meme one. I mean, we got like Christmas stuff and bowling. This one's, I mean, this is just funny. So, yeah, there's some pretty creative stuff out here. So definitely make a texture pack if that's what you want to do. But unfortunately, we cannot do that for you. So that's closed. Tag Pro Go, a mobile gaming. Oh boy, what are we doing here? This person's got some out there suggestions here. Madoka was upset that he didn't get unbanned and quit the game. Was the decision justified? Was the decision to quit the game? I mean, I don't know if you was the decision not to unban him. Maybe I'd have to check his appeal, and I can't talk about that on stream if that's the case. But I don't know. Usually there's a pretty good reason for not unbanning somebody. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say on stream to answer that question. If he doesn't agree with it, he can always open another appeal and discuss if the appeal failed. Yeah, I'm sorry, I just can't talk about that on stream. I'd have to look at it separately and see what's going on there. If the appeal failed, you can always appeal back to me. You can escalate to me as the head moderator, and I can review the case and make sure it was handled properly. But the appeal failed. Yeah, I can't say much else without looking at it and making a real answer there. Sorry. So, Tag Pro Go, a mobile gaming concept, GPS-based movement. Yeah, this is a. Oh boy. Wasn't there a Chicago meetup recently where a bunch of players actually played Capture the Flag on a field? I think that happened. I mean, this sounds fun. I don't think we can really do this. I feel bad closing stuff like this because it's creative. I don't know. I don't think we can. Fortunately, Tag Pro does not have the infrastructure to support the suggestion at this time. There was a local meetup in Chicago recently where players Alright, that's the best I can do for this one here. I mean, it's a funny concept. I don't dislike it at all. I just don't know if we can do anything like this. So yeah, I'm gonna come back and read that later, but it's fun. It's a fun idea. Okay, make viewing replays on mobile more user-friendly. I've tried to view replays that people post on Reddit on mobile. It's hard to view. All the buttons are way too big and block out the actual replay. I can't stream this, but I'm curious to see what it looks like now, so let me pull that up. There was one posted today. Oh, gosh. Wow. Okay. So, here's what it looks like on stream. I don't know if you guys can see this on the camera. It's I'm watching replay right now, and there's no replay there. It's just Robiny saying Jesus. And when I first loaded in, we've got just gigantic buttons. There's nothing you can do with that. That's garbage. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna look into that and figure out why that is happening. It's usually a challenge. Where do you watch the replay, Grant? That is pain. Yeah, it's just not even watchable. Wait, what are you watching on? Report is under review to determine the cause and possible Solutions. When did you notice this start to be an issue? Just 2 weeks. Oh, sorry. Mine doesn't look like that. Oh, 2 weeks ago was that he was very upset with the way a mod handled the appeal. Thought it wasn't worth it to start another appeal and quit the game permanently. Very upset with the way a mod handled the appeal. Thought it wasn't worth it to start another appeal and quit the game permanently. Well, I think that just goes back to what I mentioned. If you disagree with how it was handled, escalate it to me. I'll review the appeal, and then if I agree with their decision, there's nothing I can do there. But if I agree that something was done wrong, then yeah, we can do something differently. If he's not going to open another appeal because he quit, I can't do that for him. But it's a pretty straightforward process to open an appeal to discuss that. So that would be my recommendation. Open up another one, ask to talk to me about it. I'll pull up the appeal records there and we'll have a chat about it. But yeah, maybe it does look the same. Could you actually see the map? It wasn't obvious. I didn't see any map at all. Let me try. I'm opening it. So I should preface, I'm using Alien Blue to access Reddit and then trying to watch it through that, and that I can't see anything. If I try to open this in Safari, let's see if that changes. Okay, that's different. It's not good, but it's different. So here we've got a Jardum game that's extremely zoomed out, but at least you can see that there's a game going on from a distance. And then yeah, those buttons are very much in the way. I can get the button out of the way though if I tap. I don't know why I can't get the orientation right on this thing. So that's something. Yeah, that's still terrible. Absolutely terrible. Usually when I watch replays, it's through Slack because that's where I get the ping, and it looks fine on Slack. Yeah, like if I open it on Slack, it's actual like phone-sized replay, so I can see it fine through there. But I don't know what the deal is with Safari and Reddit. So I'll look into that and see if we can figure out. If I had to guess, it's probably something to do with viewport scaling. We added a change to that a couple of months ago where new players will now get a full screen look instead of like a super zoomed out look when they're on a computer. I'm wondering if that has any secondary effects for mobile users where it tries to orient and just fails miserably. I don't know. But definitely something we should be looking into because that is bad. That's really bad. So we'll take a look at that and see if we can maybe find a solution or not. So thank you for the report, Niku. Is it Niku or Niku? Niku? I keep thinking of the neonatal ICU. So okay, well that's all we got for reports this week. So I think we can change gears now. Grant, while I have you in the chat here, did you want to look over the tutorial thing that we built last week and then we can switch over to the groups, or did you watch the VOD back and already know what we did there? Get stuff pulled up in the meantime. Oops. You had it playing while half paying attention, mostly seemed fine. Okay, good enough. So we'll consider that done for now. That one's still going to go through a future group discussion and talk with the developer who takes it on and all that. I'm not sure when we're going to get to prioritizing that one, but it is saved now for when we need it. So let us change gears now. And I'm not really sure how this is going to go because I don't really know what I want out of this one. I know generally what the goal is. I'm just not sure what it's going to look like at the end. Usually I have like something built in my head ahead of time. That is not the case right now. Sorry, I like dark mode on these things. This extension is garbage though. All right, that works. Good. So just to give some background for anybody who was not watching last week while we talked about this, what I would like us to do is come up with a plan for a better look for the groups tab. Also 9 games going on right now. 70 players online. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 casual games, 2 ranked games. You'd love to see it. Better look for the groups tab. So right now, if you are in a private group game, it looks kind of like this. And I think this part is fine. I wouldn't say it's incredible by any stretch, but this really is a mess. So like opening up the settings thing, you've got this long list of settings that might mean something to you, might mean nothing to you, depending on your experience here. And it can be really unpleasant to even try to do this. So I think if we could come up with a better way to present this, I'm thinking maybe like a pop-out modal where you can group things, or we can group things by what they do. Like power-ups can be grouped together, elements can be grouped, like overtime stuff together. I don't know. We need something better than a giant list to sift through to make your group settings. So let me answer this question in the chat and then we'll get to it. So he was under the impression that it was a collective mod decision. There's always the possibility that the ban was discussed in a mod channel before the appeal was handled, but that does not mean that the decision is final. It can always be escalated to me. So if the appeal mentioned that more than one mod was involved in the decision, that would make perfect sense. Most things are discussed before they're applied like that, but that doesn't mean that it's one and done. You tried to appeal it and it failed. If something was wrong about that, I want to know, and I'll look into it. So anyway, I was thinking grouping something for sure, but UI design also frightens me. Yeah, I am not a UI guy at all. This is not going to be the final draft of whatever we do. I just want to get that conversation started so that we can get this into a place to actually succeed in the future. So make sections and colors for that list. Sections and colors. So let's talk about that. So let's start with this. So we have three different things. There's this section up here where you have a game mode, you have a map, you have time, overtime settings, cap limit, and mercy rules. So you have all that grouped together. Then you have a separate thing, which is region select or server select, where you can choose the exact server that you want, or just the region and whatever server happens to be available in that region, and then all these extra settings. My first issue is that some of this seems to kind of be overlapping with some of this. Like they're not really distinct things. These are just the original settings, and these are all the new things that have been added. But I feel like we need to standardize this. So the other thing we can do, and I don't know how this is going to look on stream or not. I do have, maybe I have. Nope. I have a, come on. Well, I thought I had a thing that was going to show us, like we could draw different, like draw different things up on it and make it look nice. But I can't get it to show up now, which is great. Please? It's paint.net. It is basically MS Paint. It's kind of like that, but whatever. I'll figure this out if we get that far. Let's start with just conceptually. How do we want to try to group things? Where do we want to go from there? And see what we can do with that. Clutch time option should be moved to the other list next to OT. All right. Well, I don't know how to have both these on stream at the same time. Let's just grab a screenshot of this so that we can have it to look at. And, oh boy, okay, yep. This is janky, sorry guys. Just to have that for reference to scroll up to. So, should we start by trying to, not sure there's an easy way to dump a list of pretty much all settings at once so you can shuffle things around. I mean, I can grab the text out of these and shuffle. I'd rather start by grouping though. So let's just talk about what the headers would be. So I think that like respawnable elements would be one category. Power-ups, but then the problem is power-ups are respawnable elements. So so would you have, we should make this decision early on, would you have it possible for one setting to be in more than one group, or would you have one setting can only be in a single group for clarity? Because power-ups are their own thing, but they're also respawnable elements. So you could go to both of those and expect to see that thing. So which one would you want to have power-ups in. And does that mean that power-ups should not actually be a category? Does it mean that respawnable elements should not be a category? Let's see. I guess power-ups are, like, you'd have to have like subcategories. Like how do you, gravity, you have your jump limit. Jumps restricted by speed, obviously. Sorry, I'm trying to zoom in so you guys can actually read this, but it's becoming ugly very quick. Physics. What would physics be? That would be, oh, your bounciness, your top speed, your acceleration. Yep, okay. Okay. Is that the only three? 1, 2, 3? Yeah. Okay. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I don't think I want respawnable elements to be a thing now. Because I want, like, power-ups needs to be its own category. They're just so different. Like, you can do so many different things. Like, with power-ups, you can change how they work. You can change when they happen or when they appear. And you can change that they exist at all. But with things like bombs, you can change when they respawn, and that's it. You can't change how they work. You can't change how if they work at all. Like, there's no way to remove. It's like they're different things that I don't think could be respawnable. Yeah, that's what I was just getting to the same point. How do you say things that respawn that aren't power-ups? I guess it would have to be map elements, and then we consider a power-up not an element. Like, it's a power-up as opposed to an element, I guess. Implements, utilities, maybe? The things that you can use? Is utilities an okay word? Power-up's kind of a utility, but I don't know. Experimental settings, I agree. Experimental settings is not helpful. We added that as a way to say these are things that we might be adding to the base game, but we're not sure yet. But that just needs to be scrapped entirely. Elements feels better than utility for excluding pups. Okay. Elements. Map elements, maybe? Map elements, then. Yeah, all right, we'll keep that for now, just to keep moving. So inside of elements, you would have, but players aren't map elements. Player respawn. I guess you wouldn't have player respawn in there. Then you would have, that would be more under physics. How do you? This is terrible. This is miserable. Why did I? I'm regretting this. No. That doesn't make sense. Like, ask ChatGPT. I don't know if ChatGPT understands what we're doing. Put it somewhere if a category exists, make a new one if it doesn't. Okay, let's do that. Let's use that approach. Can I copy all of these right off the bat? Of course not. Can I copy all of them here? Nope. Oh well. Okay. We're gonna go the hard way. That's not helpful at all. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do this. I'm just going to type it out manually because I can't think of a better way. So we've got acceleration, top speed, bounciness, player respawn, boost respawn, bomb respawn, power up, respawn, delay power ups for 1 respawn cycle. Oh, that's just awful. Awful. Potato timer. User script. There's just so much stuff. Respawn warnings. That's respawn but not respawns. Next, pop indicators. OT respawn increment. OT bonus. Juke juices. Rolling bomb behavior. Oh my goodness. We've got power up. Juke juice. We got power up. We expel power up differently. This is power dash up. This is just power up. Tag pro. Power up. Rolling bomb. Egg ball. Losing team starts with a no capitalization there. Then we go back to power ups. Combine juke juice and rolling bomb. Like, what is that? Then we got jump limit. Jumps restricted by speed. Map testing mode. That's a game mode. That's not even a setting. Last possession. Clutch time. Ghost mode. And then inside the experimental settings, we also have kissing flag carriers, kissing tag pros, juke juice, space bar, boost, juke juice. This is terrible. This is just miserable. Boost power. And then space bar detonates all power-ups. And then tag pro max tags. Wow. It's worse than I thought. It's so bad. It's so bad. Okay, sorry. Some of your messages got blocked there while I was going. Wow. Alright, what did I miss here? Is there a way? Blah, blah, blah. Shuffle consolidates go. Surely Google Docs has some sort of OCR. Probably. I'll transcribe and PM in 1 second. Oh, sorry. I finished before you DM'd me, so that's fine. Almost done. Just finished the background. Yeah. I had to go in and check to make sure each setting was only one setting. Yeah. This is a really crappy version of we didn't start the fight. Yeah. This is truly just terrible. The reason this sucks is the same reason it needs to happen, I guess. So that's at least an argument for doing this, but wow. I'm not having fun. Gonna be honest, this is not a good time. So let's see. Where to begin? I'm trying to think if there's a way to not have this be like a big list. Like what other forms of multi-select exist out there? Kind of curious to look it up. So just going down the line. Where there's a will, there's a way. I have the will. I just don't know if I have the way. Hopefully we can make the way. I didn't want to look up like drop-down options, drop-down select, multi-select options, multi-select UI options. Just see what pops up. I don't know, random website. What do we got here? Bunch of garbage. We've got, well, searching is good. A search by option wouldn't be a terrible idea. Write that down somewhere just so we don't forget. I think we already kind of have that. If you are in a group and you pull up that list and you type in, like if I type in OT, it does sort of select the thing that you want, but it's not like a true search. Like if I'm typing in respawn, it just takes the closest respawn thing to what I want. If I type bomb, it will sort of work. Pulls up bomb respawn, but then I don't know, it's not working consistently. But yeah, that's not a good enough chat box for what we're trying to do at all, obviously. But I think a chat box would be good. What else can we find? This is all mobile stuff. What's that? Categories. Okay, that's an interesting thought. Do you have settings where each setting is in more than, well, we just talked about one thing per category, but if you had like different categories, like types of things, then you could search by those categories and then all of the relevant settings popped up for those categories. Like if you wanted to look at respawns, it would pull up all the respawn stuff. If you want to pull up power-ups, it'll pull up all the power-up stuff. Maybe that is an easier way of finding things that you want. I don't know. I don't hate that, but I'm not sold on it either. What else do we have? What's this? Well, that's not relevant at all. All right, I think I've seen everything useful on this site. This is not doing it for me. I don't hate the category thing. Let's keep looking for other options here. See if that pulls us anything. Sorry, I'm just looking up something real quick to see if it's viable. So there's a thing you can do where, no, that's not gonna work. Never mind. Ignore me. Didn't realize you could still classic RB. Does that give it old power? Yeah. So the rolling bomb is still available. If you go to classic, it will reduce the power. Increase the power to what it used to be. It's a very minor increase. And then it will remove the space bar and it will diffuse on contact. So you can still play with the original settings if you wanted to select that in groups. Yep, that's exactly how it was before the new rolling bomb was released. Problem is everything I'm finding is like multi-select where you're picking more than one option, not sifting through options that have a lot of overlap. So I want to make sure that we can differentiate what we're actually trying to do. I don't know how to ask this question online to get what I'm looking for. Looks like search bar is kind of the recommendation. I don't know, that's kind of the only thing I've found that it doesn't seem like a terrible idea right off the bat. What does combined JJRB even do? Is it just that there's always two pups in one? Yeah, so that was a setting requested by Europe about 2 years ago, where they were seeing if maybe a way to buff, well, a way to nerf tag pros was to buff Juke Juices and Rolling Bombs. And so the request was that when you grab either of them, it's just both of them at the same time. So that those power-ups became a lot stronger, and the Tag Pro was then balanced against those. It didn't end up being very popular in practice, but the setting exists, so it's there if you want it. It's kind of silly in my opinion, but basically 66%. Yeah, I don't know if they had, I think they might have done it where they disabled Rolling Bombs and then enabled it, so it was just Juke Juices and Tag Pros, but anytime you got a Juke Juice, it was also a Rolling Bomb. So it was 50-50, but ranked NF in next release. Probably. We need to, so I talked about on last stream, a lot of joiner changes went in that are live now. We have not seen any issues in the last week with the joiner. There are some minor things that we already knew about that are fixed in the next release, so we just need to make sure that everything that we've worked on goes to production, doesn't explode. Once it does not explode, then we can introduce Neutral Flag with Season 1. So I think we might introduce Neutral Flag for like a couple of days toward the end of Season 0, just so we can see if it works okay, and then we'll have it running for the entirety of Season 1. Yes. So sort of yes in next release. Yeah, so this is the only thing I've found that I don't hate yet. Can I be a tester? Anybody can be a tester. Are you on Discord? If you go to the Discord and you opt into the future group testing role in the role assignment channel, you will get pings anytime we are hosting testing sessions, and you can join and make sure that you help us break things. Always a good time. So, Grant, what are your thoughts on this thing so far? Not a full solution to the problem. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot to write the other thing that I was, so the categories thing that I was talking about. So if we had, settings are assigned tags. Tags can be applied to narrow down the list of settings. And then you can add multiple tags so that if you want power-ups and you want respawn times, so you want to change when power-ups respawn, you would pick the power-ups tag and the respawns tag. If you want to see everything respawnable, you would just do the respawns tag and you would get bombs, boosts, players, power-ups. So it would let you choose. It goes against what you said originally, though, where you're putting one setting in multiple groups, but you're not doing it by way of a drop down. So you would just have your unordered list of everything, your chat box at the top, and then your tags where you say, I want settings. So you would have drop down lists for tags. So you would say, pick from these 10 options, pick as many as you want. And then for all the things you selected, we'll give you everything that matches everything that you selected. So if you select, again, respawn time and power up, it would only give you power up respawns. But if you only selected power ups, all power up stuff. I feel like that it's more intuitive, I guess. I don't know if I like it more, but it's I'd have to see to be 100% sure. I just don't know. Wait, I thought we already set that. Well, we have. Can you clarify what you mean when you say that? Because we do have the thing where if you pick a setting and you change something, it does pop up down here. Like you can see all the settings that have been changed all at the bottom, no matter what. So I think that would continue to persist, where you can see all the settings that you have selected. It would just be that if you want to find a new setting to change, instead of just this list that I despise, you could have it be something else to find them with. So tags make that less of a problem. Sorry, I'm not following. Tags make that less of a problem. You don't want unnecessary redundancy in terms of like where you can go to change the settings. I'm sorry, I feel like we're talking past each other. I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. happy with how the changes are currently listed at the bottom, or is that getting changed too? I don't really have a problem with this because it allows you to remove the stuff that you don't want. Like if I don't want to have power-ups disabled, I can just click the X and it goes away. But if I had that setting, like say I want to change, did I just find a bug? I think I just found a bug. That's supposed to pull up the setting, but it's not doing that for everything. Oh, all the experimental stuff, it doesn't pull up. All right, we found a bug, yay. That's a different problem. Yeah, look at that. So if I click on power up, it pulls up the setting like it's supposed to. If I click respawn warnings, it pulls it up like it's supposed to. But spacebar detonates all power-ups is inside of experimental settings, so it does not pull it up. Huh. Noted. I should put a ticket in for that real quick. Sorry to sideline the conversation real quick. Tags is a loaded term. Yeah, tags is not a good word to be using. You are completely correct. I should pick a different word for that. Yeah, I think that labels might be a safer word. Something like that. Labels can be applied to narrow down the list of settings. I think that makes sense to me. Okay, let me put in that ticket real quick because I want to have that recorded so I don't forget about it. And then we will continue with this conversation. Just make sure nothing exists like that already. Yeah, nothing exists for this yet, so let's build that. Selecting edited group settings under the experimental category fails to open that setting. In private groups, if a setting has been changed, it appears in the bottom right with the name of the setting and the selection used for that group. Clicking on that changed setting will open the group editor to that setting so that it can be edited again. For items in the experimental section, clicking on the setting does not open any editor and instead displays nothing selected. Items, two solutions. Items should be moved out of experimental settings altogether, or clicking on those items. Clicking on those items should open. My God, typing today. Okay, label that a bug. It's probably an easy fix. And send that off. Okay. Moving on. Send over a first draft of labels. Oh, you okay if I put that up on the stream just to see? Get these spammers out of here. I have like 2 viewers. I don't need this. Go away. Do I need to put in a ticket for my name, colors, idea? Probably. Do you mean like a candy board ticket? If it's a suggestion for something to change on the website, yes. And we can actually go through that on stream now if you would like to throw that up on the candy board. Oh, Beach. No, that's a moderator. That's a moderator thing. That's different. Don't. I take care of those separately. That does not need to be posted anywhere publicly. Grant, let's see if I can copy this over. Grant, you said you're okay with me putting this on the stream, right? You don't mind if I share this? Sorry if I drop some frames here. Opening up Discord real quick. Okay. Oh no, I've lost the headers. There we go. So these were ideas from Grant, thank you, for labels that we could assign. So let's go through these together and figure out what to do with them. So just want to clarify, is there any overlap right here? Or are these all completely one thing per category, it looks like? No, yeah, okay. And so we run into the problem, as you can see down here, with stuff that just isn't really like anything else. I think this is a Tag Pro pop edit, because it's saying that a Tag Pro can no longer pop another player with a Tag Pro. That's basically what it is as a setting. But it's more like Kissing Flag Carriers than it is like any other Tag Pro edit, because Kissing Flag Carriers is just saying a flag carrier cannot pop another flag carrier. But yeah, it's hard to take it away from Kissing Flag Carriers. Yeah, so this sucks. I'm not having fun at all. This is just not an enjoyable experience. So if we were to do labels, just to explore both options here, and then we can kind of compare. Should have voted to have you do it last week, yeah, so you didn't have to sit through this misery. So if we did, oh, it's not enough for one page. Come on. It's gonna be. We're going down a size. Boom, nailed it. If we were to do labels, let's go back up to the full list and let's assign some labels to these just to see what we can do. So this would be physics. I think that's fine to keep the same. Should it be something like player as well, like player modification, or because there's other stuff that's not physics but it is still players, like your ghost mode. Well, I guess that is physics too, actually, because that's you're removing the physics, but it's still physics. Where did you put ghost mode? You put it as a game mode. It is a game mode. It's both of those things. It's a game mode of different physics. I'll keep it as physics for now, and we can come back if we think of another topic. Physics. Player respawn is going to be respawnables, and then just is players a category? Like what is it? How does a player respawn relate to a player? Like what is the overlap between a player respawning and what the player itself actually is that we could call a player respawning? It's like stuff that impacts players, I guess. I'm gonna put players as a category, and we can think of a better name later. Respawnables, map elements, balls. This is respawnables, map elements, explosions, maybe? Because if we had to do something where like the rolling bomb strength was a setting, but then maybe bomb strength could be a future setting where we modify how much power a bomb has, that could be an explosions category. This is respawnables, power-ups. This is just power-ups. What else would this be? So this is the setting where in the past, when a game started, there would already be power-ups spawned on the map. Where if you're delaying it, they do not start spawn. They only spawn after a minute has passed for the game. Boost power. Well, no, boost power is already a thing because you have the Juke Juice spacebar boost. So that, yeah, that's relevant. So would it be, instead of explosions, would it be strength modifiers or something multipliers, performance like multipliers maybe? Explosions. I need a thesaurus. Yeah, enhancers. I don't hate enhancers. Strength enhancers, because it could also be diminished. Like you could also make something weaker. It's kind of like physics though too. Stims. Pulling out my thesaurus. Intensity, magnitude. Kind of like intensity, honestly. You like intensity? Let's go with intensity for now. We can always come back to it. Would intensity be relevant for acceleration, top speed, and bounciness? Or would that stay as physics? Max intensity. 300% everything. Not sure I like intensity for respawn times. Oh, sorry. Did I put that in the wrong place? I think I put that in the wrong place. Bomb respawn would not be intensity. Yeah. I'm going to put intensity for these. And then not respawn. Wait. Why were we coming up with that idea in the first place? This is terrible. Intensity was talking about bomb. Oh, it's a setting that doesn't exist yet. That's why. It was because it was for like your Juke Juice boost power is intensity and your spacebar boost was intensity. But your bomb intensity is not a setting that exists yet. So it came up with bomb respawn, but it's not actually for bomb respawn. Okay. Is the formatting awful here? Can you guys tell what's what? Yeah, I had explosions. No, that's like bomb respawn isn't an explosion. It's just a bomb respawn. But it's a bomb. Like is bomb a category? Yeah, I mean, we could do it. We could say balls, boosts, bombs, and then power-ups. Those are the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Timers. I think we have respawnables for timers. Unless I'm thinking of the wrong thing when you say that. Please clarify. Delay power-ups for 1 respawn cycle. That's power-ups. That's also respawnables, I guess. Game timers. So like your respawn warnings is what you mean? Because that's respawnables. Potato timer. That's a tough one. Like how long the game is. You mean like this drop down here? The length of the game? Potato timer. No, it is. It is. Sorry, it's not included in this list, but yes, this should be brought over too. So we've got game mode. We've got map. Although map should probably stay. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Game duration. Like these things don't have headers. I'm just kind of making these up as I go here. Overtime. Capture limit. And then mercy rule. So we'll get to those later. Potato timer. I feel like we're definitely going to need just like a miscellaneous bucket, but I don't want to settle for that yet. Maybe flag carrier could be its own category, label. Because flag carrier is going to be relevant for like kissing flag tag pros or kissing flag carrier. Sorry, it's going to be relevant for clutch time. Nobody uses potato timer. Excuse you. There are some very fun game modes if you are not familiar with Sharks and Minnows, which is heavily reliant on the potato flag. So I would say it's actually one of the most important things that we have in the. Yeah. Okay. Flag carrier is probably fine. I'm just going to do a miscellaneous category for now. User scripts. User scripts. So this is your no script setting. It's not really related to the game. It's just related to what you can and can't do on top of the game. So I feel like that needs its own category of just scripts. Question mark? I don't know. Kind of torn on this one. Map testing mode. Map testing mode, I think we could probably lump with like your gravities and your egg balls. And well, I think you can have more than one. I think you can have gravity and map test, so that might be a problem if we tried to put them together. We'll cross that bridge. We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. Respawn warnings, respawnables. How about like UI maybe, like stuff that impacts what you're seeing, because respawn warnings aren't changing the game itself. It's changing how the game looks to you. Just like UI. Like UI stands for user interface. Anyone who's not aware. Watching this back later. I feel like UI is probably a shared thing they have there. Next pup indicators, same thing. That's UI. It's power-ups. It's UI, and it's probably just that, right? I'm gonna keep going, but stop me if I'm missing something. Better word for UI. People, yeah, that's a very good point. If I have to clarify on stream, maybe visuals, appearance. I don't know. Graphics. Yeah, that's not right. I'm gonna go with visuals for now. This is not final by any stretch. OT respawn increment. So this is balls. This is respawnables. This is probably game modes, right? Indicators felt good, but user scripts is so encompassing. Yeah, I don't like what do scripts do these days? Like you've got your like in-game scripts. You've got changing like the background. You've got like overlays on top of players. You've got like scoreboard stuff. It's all just stuff that you're looking at. All the stuff that was actually helping your game performance has been built in. Like you got your snap tap that we built in, so your prioritize recent key presses setting takes over for anything you would need there. Your null cancellation script, for example, that doesn't make sense anymore. Timer scripts, we have timers in the game, and if timers are disabled, the script isn't relevant for that, so the private settings don't matter. You've got like what else is there? You got like macros, I guess. Like macros are a script that's not visual, but we have macros built into the game, so like it doesn't like people who are using scripts for that aren't really using scripts for what we are encouraging scripts to be used for. Like everything that a script does right now is changing how the game looks if it's not built into the game. I'm trying to think of any scripts that actually do something instead of just changing how things look. Sounds, that's a big one. That's a really big one. Yeah, so that's not visuals at all. that's the thing we were missing there. Okay. And the problem is sounds also doesn't really fall under UI. I mean, it's more UX than UI. I don't know. What's the line between UI and UX? Who knows? I'm going to keep visuals because I think for respawn warnings and next pop indicators it makes sense. And for user scripts, but it would have to be more than just... Yeah, I don't know. We'll come back to that. Like you said, it's a weird one. OT respawn increment. It's balls. It's respawnables. Is it a game mode related thing? For those not aware what that is, it's in casual games in overtime when you pop, it adds a certain number of seconds to your next respawn. It's also used in the shift game mode so that when you go to overtime, it takes longer and longer for you to respawn, giving the advantage to the team popping less with time. Checkbox for competitive, yeah, but like people use scripts for non-competitive things too, right? Like maybe just like streamer tools. I don't know. I don't want to do that one anymore. Move on. OT respawn increment. Keep moving. I feel like it has to be a better word than game mode to describe niche things that only change how the game plays for specific. It is game modes. It's stuff that only works for custom game modes. Things that you're playing unconventional gameplay maybe, but it is conventional. It's in casual. No, stop talking about scripts. It's a good point. Why are you? No, I'm not hammering that. Moving on. You made a good point. I don't want to talk about it. Game mode. What are OT respawn increments? They are making you respawn differently. Gameplay behavior, yeah. You're right. Like that is what it is. It's just different behavior that we use. But why? What is it? Why did it? I mean, it is respawnable. It is balls. I guess that covers it. But I just feel like it needs one more something. Okay, there we go. It's got one more something. Overtime bonus juke juices. Oh, should we clarify that it's like an overtime only setting? Maybe overtime is relevant. because this is also overtime. This is also power-ups. Yeah, overtime's good. Overtime, power-ups. Juke Juice, I guess, would be a tag that should be added. I gotta stop calling them tags. They're labels. Okay. Rolling bomb behavior. This is power-ups. This is rolling bomb. This is explosions. What else is this? Is it also the same something? Because you got your classic rolling bomb behavior. Nah. I think that covers. I think that's covered well enough for me. Power-ups. Juke Juice. Is that it? It's just whether or not the setting is the pup's enabled, I guess. What do you think? Yeah, okay, let's do it. Okay. This is, oh Christ, definitely something. Like, what is the setting? Losing team starts egg ball? Like, it's important. It's what they wanted to have happen, where no matter which team scores, if your team is losing, you start with the egg so that it's easier for you to come back. They wanted that to not be the case, so it's disabled for their things where it's just whoever got scored on gets the egg for the next possession. But how do you fit that in with everything else? Like, it's group only? Is that that doesn't cover OT respawn increment? Okay, egg ball. We can do egg ball. That's one. Game modes, yeah. Plug my ears. La la la, can't hear you. Okay. Unconventional. I don't know. We'll come back to that. Power up L. I don't think that L's supposed to be there. Power up combined Juke Juice and rolling bomb. So this is going to be power up, Juke Juice, and rolling bomb, I guess. Anything else? What else would that be? Just those two together. Yeah, good enough. Jump limit, this is going to be physics. No, it's not. Is that physics? It's gravity, that's for sure. What is a jump limit? You can only jump so many times, and you need to land before your next jump. It's still hard to define gameplay behavior changes? Okay, something. Jumps restricted by speed, same thing. This is gravity and probably still something. Is this one physics maybe? Because this one, depending on how fast you go, you can or can't do something. But it's not anything like the other physics things. I don't know, would you include this in physics or not? Unless you're trying to future-proof, I think having egg and gravity as almost entirely their own tags is probably fine. Okay, I can live with that. Map testing mode. So this one's weird because it changes a lot of stuff. It increases the AFK timer. It changes... It allows you to instantly respawn anything that you want, or everything in the game at the same time by pressing, I think, I forget what key it is, but there's a key you can press. It says it when you join the game, so just look at the chat. This is also that same something where it's a different behavior, but it's not really made for that something. Is it R? Okay, thank you. Yeah, it removes the monitor key. Yeah, okay. Last possession clutch time. This is flag carrier. It's definitely, it's another something. It's just, it's a different kind of game mode. Okay. Physics. Game mode. Something. Okay, actually I have a challenging question for this one. Thank you for trying. For ghost mode, a new problem with this one is that ghost mode is popular for gravity. Like they like to use it for gravity because they don't bump into each other when they're trying to do stuff. So do you assign the gravity tag to ghost mode, even though it works in non-gravity settings? Or do you keep it as physics because that's what it is? And then I think you just keep it as physics. Now that I've said that out loud. Because you don't, it's not a gravity setting. It's just a setting that works for gravity. Same thing as like a boost respawn. You wouldn't make that gravity because they use boosts in gravity. You would just have it as boost. So yeah, we're gonna keep it physics, game mode, something. Kissing flag carriers. It's flag carrier. Is this physics? Tags. Labels. Is kissing flag carriers physics? I lean toward yes, because it changes what happens when they collide. That's physics, right? Maybe? It's definitely flag carrier. I don't know. I don't like any of this. This is power-ups. This is Tag Pro. I hate that personally. You hate physics here? Flag carriers, people are gonna select flag carrier if they want kissing flag carriers. I'm okay with that. Just being the only tag. Okay. Juke Juice Spacebar Boost. This is Intensity. This is Power Ups. This is Juke Juice. This is Boosts, I guess. Okay, Boost Power. Oh wait, the boost, Spacebar Boost is not Intensity. It's just on or it's off. Intensity is in the power of the boost. So this is still power-ups. This is still Juke Juice. And it's still boosts. Yeah, I think you would have to... Yeah, I don't really want to worry about that right now. I agree. It doesn't make sense to have one not pulled up with the other. You'd probably just have either of the, all four of these tags apply to both of them and they just come up together, I guess. I'm not going to worry about that right now. This is power-ups. What else is this? God, this wall of text. This is just awful. Awful. Whatever. Power-ups. Tag Pro. Anything else? probably fine. Game mode, I think that could just be game mode. I guess, I don't know, map, this would have to be a separate chapter. I think map can stay as its own. I think honestly, the game mode and the map could probably stay the way they are, and just the other 4 would be absorbed by the game. I think the reason I was thinking about this, why it's set up like this, is because when you join a fresh group, these settings are chosen for you. None of these settings are chosen for you. So we're kind of changing the behavior if we do this. If we get rid of these 4 and show them down here, it's a little bit different than it was, but we'll, I think, leave those alone. Game duration. Yeah, like it doesn't really fit with any of the other stuff we just did. Which is an argument for keeping it where it is, because it's so different. Overtime, on the other hand, we do have other overtime stuff. Yeah. I think it's a good reason. I think that things like mercy rule people don't really care about. Or capture limit, nobody uses capture limit. Like that's never... It is used occasionally, but very, very rare for someone to care about a capture limit, unless the limit is 1 for certain game modes, in which case, so I think we could definitely ditch capture limit because that's not even used in the default settings. But the other ones, I think the other ones can stay. So I would move capture limit down. You know, game ending parameters. End game. End game? Is that a good setting? Could that be clutch time? Maybe end game? What do you think about that? Because one thing I do want to add is a something I built a long time ago that's just never been important enough to prioritize. I don't even know if I've ever submitted a ticket for this. It's on Discord, I know, but let's see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I did. I made this back in 2022 as just like a proof of concept. So I was really excited about the possibility of adding different game ending parameters, which is like different ways of ending a game. So right now you can only end the game if the time runs out, or you hit a mercy rule, or you hit a cap limit. Those are the only 3 ways a game can end. But I was thinking it'd be really cool for like custom, private, whatever things you want to do, if you could add in a bunch of other things. Like maybe the game ends when you get 15 returns, and then it's a game mode where the person's chasing everybody around, and if time expires, they lose, and if they get 15, they win. Like stuff like that. Things like your dodgeball game mode would work with that. Like right now, it's like portals, and you run out of portals, and then the game ends. But if you just had the first team to get to 10 pops loses, then that would be a better way. Like it would just open up a lot of a hold. Like the first person to hold for more than half the game, they win. Like stuff like that would just be cool for a thing to do. It was assigned to Catalyst, and then he unfortunately was not able to get to it before he had to leave for his real life stuff, which is fair. But this exists, and stuff like this would also make sense with an end game tag is where I'm going with that originally. I forgot I made this. I want to go through this again later and kind of see what it's like. But I think it'd be a cool thing to add in at some point. But obviously not a top priority right this minute. Just opens up a lot of options for things you can do in private groups. So I think end game is fine. Mercy rule could also be end game if we ended up putting it. I don't think that these ones. I don't think these ones down at the bottom are actually going to be moved. I think we'll keep them where they are. But do we have a lot of endgame stuff? Like we've got mercy rule. Overtime is endgame, I guess. And then by extension, this is kind of endgame as well, right? Oh, that's overtime. That's not the same. Clutch time. Yeah, I added clutch time. End game. I'm not sure. This is in overtime. That's like end game is like before overtime. I feel like it's like how do you get to overtime, and then how does the game end when it's in overtime? I don't know if that's really. I could be swayed. I could be swayed both ways. All right. Well, that at least gives us a starting point. I'm gonna be honest. I did not enjoy any of this. Thank you for sticking with me, Grant, on that. This is gonna be something I think I just need to put a pause on and then talk to the future group about it. See what we want to do with this. If it's a viable approach. I can't think of a better way to do it, even though I hate it. And we definitely need to figure out what something is, but we can do that on our own time and not waste yours. Anything that takes effect when the clock hits 0 is good for endgame. All right, you've convinced me. I'll write it down. Cost me nothing. Is it reasonable to expect Season 1 soon after the next release patch if everything works well? Yes, so we talked about that briefly. I'll go through that again real quick here. We have one release to go before I am comfortable saying that Season 0 is done. Basically everything that we have found that was not working well or that we wanted to have in Ranked to consider it stable and done to move on from, all of that stuff is in the next release, or will be. If there's like 2 things not started yet, but they're really quick. So everything that needs to happen to say Ranked is done, we are done with Ranked, we are moving on to the in-game shop, all of that should be in the next release. My plan and my hope is that we can have that by the end of this month and move to Season 1 in October, like the first week of October. Whether that ends up happening or not, obviously TBD, but that I think we're on track for it based on how things look right now. So reasonable to expect Season 1 soon? Yes, just not like this week soon. If you are not already opted into future group testing, please do that. We need more testers when we get to that in the next week or two. So go to the official Discord, go to the role assignment channel, opt into future group testing, please, and that will be a big help. If it's decided to go forward with labels, can we have a long list of labels? Oh God, we're back to where we're I think it would be like a multi-select where you select the things that you want, and at least it's I think that's an okay thing to have a list for, right? It's stuff that, yeah, it's stuff that you can like read and know, okay, this is related to the thing I'm looking for, and then you can read through. So it's just an advanced filtering of what you want without having to put things under one header that you expand. So I see what you're going for. I think we're okay. I do want to have a longer discussion with the future group and Bash and all that and see where we take it, but that's good enough for me for now. So I forget, did I promise anything else on this stream? I want to make sure I didn't forget to do something I said I would. We've got development updates done. We did feedback tab replies. We built a new feature. We did some Q&A. Yeah, I think that covers. I was going to Venmo you 100. That's right. I'll get that over there for. Yeah, I think that covers everything. So I am mentally drained after this, but thank you for sticking around. Anyone watching the replay, props to you for getting through that. And if you have any notes on the stuff that we built here, feel free to shoot me a message on Discord or anywhere else you can find me. So that's all for now. Next week, back to the 1 o'clock start time. Sorry for the late start this week. I do want to be more consistent about the 1 p.m. I might also start streaming some Sunday majors games if there aren't streamers available. So if you have a team there, feel free to hit me up. And that's all I got. So thanks again. I will talk to you all soon, and have a good weekend.